What?
Today we are going to be talking about, of course, the Burnley result and the Liverpool result. In advance, we apologise that we never got to do like a preview type discussion for like the Liverpool game. We were both kind of busy, and then next thing you know, the match was here. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the Burnley result. Not too much, obviously positive win. But then we're going to be going on to, you know, the Liverpool match, which that's a big talking point. And then of course, in the next couple of days, you'll be getting the Tottenham discussion before the North London derby, but that'll be a completely different episode, so look forward to that. But yeah, Ali, as I said, straight off, Burnley 2-1 win at the Emirates. Danny Ceballos
Yeah,
having a game of his life.
yeah. I'm gonna try and not focus too much on Liverpool, so I'll be ever so more positive with Burnley. But yeah, I think it was just that whole game was just dominated by Ceballos. Like, do
Yeah,
you remember after the game? I literally texted you. I don't care. We need this guy. 200 mil, or 400 mil, a trillion. Just get this guy, because he was like, for me at least, he was like, we've got Sani Cazorla. Like,
yeah,
we've got a younger version of Sani Cazorla. And unfortunately, unfortunately, I'm already directing onto Liverpool, but no, he just completely dominated the game, and it was just like, it was just too good.
yeah.
And then with that whole Lacazette and Uber pairing, it was only going to be lethal. And I think Emery knew that. But yeah, what do you think,
No, yeah, it was nice for the boys.
Danny?
It was nice for the boys to get off the mark. Uber and Aka scoring at home. It was a nice warm welcome to
Mm.
see. Obviously, our debutants, our new players. David Luiz who went in for Chambers, which obviously we'll talk about Liverpool performance in a minute. But no,
Yeah,
obviously, in general, I just think I don't understand why Chambers has come out of the team. I think he played well against Newcastle. But, obviously, yeah, he's
yeah.
just trying to embed David Luiz. But on top of that, Pepe, he's shown signs, of course, as we keep saying, Liverpool game in the minute. But it was just overall
Mm.
good performance, positive. Sean Dyche crying like a baby about diving when there wasn't
Oh
any
yeah,
diving.
it was like it was so few incidents. It was like, I think, because I've read up an article apparently saying that it was like, apparently it might have been a little bit justified, but like it was like literally only four times the entire game where they're like logistical dives, and there it would have been like, and one of them was from a Burnley player themselves. So it was like, so he's contributing a quarter to what
Yeah,
diving is, and it's just like for I to be perfectly honest, I can actually understand where he's coming from. Like, sort of like, embedding is not good if you have that upbringing of looking up to the famed, and then say these guys are diving left, right, and center. Like, if we saw Santi Cazorla um, dive on that game, where he dribbled like around five, six players in that City game, and if he dived on like the third, then obviously it would have been like, technically that would have looked up to kids, and like sort of like after three or four dive, because you're not gonna get past anyone. But
yeah.
it's but I just think it's he's got a point, but he's just not the right person to talk about.
No, yeah,
Because
fully.
like, who are you to judge? Because um, you're not managing basically anyone else. You're not managing Bournemouth, or like a City or someone like that. So it's just, and if there's anything we knew in this world, Barcelona got away with diving for pretty much their entire lives, and so far no one's pointing any fingers at them. So it's like,
Yeah.
there's not really much point. There's not really much point pointing fingers when it's just going to continue. So, like, that's what I think of it. What do you think?
Oh no, like he has got a point. Like a lot more diving's coming into football, or whatnot. But at the same time, he always just, for some reason, loves to bitch about Arsenal. Like he did it last season and whatnot. He did it the season before, and it's just like every single time he plays Arsenal, he's like, "Oh, they're just too weak." It's like, no, just because we don't send out our players to throw someone 65 yards when we're just trying to like tackle doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything. But overall, it was a positive game. We don't have to play them until second half of the year or whatnot. But, you know, I think I said 2-1 or 3-1 win, and I think you said 2-0,
Yeah.
something like that. And
Oh,
obviously,
yeah, yeah.
you know, so we got that right.
One of ours came true. Yeah.
Yeah, got that right.
um,
But, you know,
lineup
go
wise,
like no lineup
go
lineup
back
was
and forth.
fine. Yeah, we got the lineup wrong, like fully wrong. But to be honest, none of us really knew that Xhaka had an injury or whatnot and anything like that. But you know, going from a positive game
Mm.
where you know we predicted right, or go into a game where I think deep down we both knew we were gonna lose. But you know, the
Yeah.
hope that something would have happened. Obviously, 3-1 winners, Liverpool, past weekend just gone by. Is it a different Arsenal, like, type defeat, or is it same old, same old?
No, it's nowhere near the same old same old. I think it's like the good news was we held out Liverpool for 41 minutes, and what did they score from? A header from literally a 6'3" player, and when you're having Van Dijk in that the same box as well, it's like it's inevitable, isn't it? Because when you're playing like kids like Joe Willock and Guendouzi in that box, they got no chance of on that. But like it was just that game. I thought 4-1, 2-1, 2 diamond. Like I could see where most people were like saying, "Oh, oh, that's such a bad decision to like re up the entire blanks because basically Robertson and Trent would just whip balls in." But as you sort of found out on the day that it was like that, and then basically that first half, it was working for most of it. Guendouzi had Robertson in his pocket. Surprisingly, it was just like a couple of times they were well obviously they surged forward and they would sometimes have a couple of chances, but it was just like majority of the game I felt like that tactic, weirdly enough, it somewhat it disrupted play because obviously they don't really go through that midfield, and when they do go through that midfield it's usually just put out wide so they can sort of just create that interception sort of game, because we knew sure as hell we're not gonna out like well not was it out desire Liverpool. So it was like so for me it was like that first half performance and we had his tactics spot on. If Pepe finished that chance, we were literally gonna gone into half time and we would be thinking on winning. Because then Emery might have changed a few tactics together. Let's actually now put a couple of players out wide. Let's put on Nelson to track Trent. Let's get Pepe out wide to track so and so and Robertson. And it's like we could have actually got something from that game, but inevitably it's just Liverpool, and it was like we can't do anything. It's like when you're playing against a team that got 97 points last year, it's like what can you do? But like, and obviously there were some people already started saying Emery questionable decision playing a 4-1-2-1-2. Like you wouldn't have any questions if you were leading by half time. So it's just like that's what I think of it. What do you think?
Like, alright, part of me is going to disagree here with you. Overall, yes, I think, you know, Emery's tactic was working for 41 minutes, but a game is 90. It's not just 41 minutes. There are positives to take away from this game. Based off the first half alone, as you said, Uber and Pepe, if they scored them chances, different game. That's obviously where Pepe needs to come up to speed, and I think Uber just rushed his shot, to be honest, when, you know, Adrian kicked it out to him, and, you know, he should have, like,
Yeah.
done something different instead of trying to lob it from, like, that far out and been more composed. Like, it would have been a different game. Obviously, overall, no, we lost, but I disagree with the fact that Guendouzi had Robertson on lockdown. I think Guendouzi had one of his, not worst performances, but he had a bad game. He was dilly-dallying on the ball too much. Like, for once, he weren't the... Like, for once, Xhaka weren't the worst in the midfield for me. It was Guendouzi, in my opinion. I just don't think Guendouzi could play in that match. Like, he was doing misway passes, he was getting caught on the ball. He's basically doing a Xhaka. And that's what confused the hell out of me, because he's a lot faster and normally a lot more composed than Xhaka. But I think in this game, more than anything, like you said about, oh, Liverpool would only cross. But that's literally what they did in the first, 10 seconds of the game. They went down left field, Robertson crossed, and not Fabinho, striker's name, forgot his name, Firmino. He was like 2 inches, he was like literally 2-3 inches off of kicking it in the net. And they did that 3 or 4 times, and it's just like, this is where it confused me. I understand why Emery went with the diamond, but for the past 3 weeks, the past whole pre-season, we've been training with wingers. Me and you were getting gassed about wingers in last week's episode and the week before, oh my god, the width is going to be amazing. And everything, with Reece, with Pepe, with Uber, with Lacko, whatnot, the width is going to be so good. But then all of a sudden, you've minus width. Don't get me wrong, the up front was brilliant besides missing the chances, on the sense that Pepe had Van Dijk and Robertson on ropes. And that was the first time in 50 games Van Dijk had actually been taken on. And don't get me wrong, once Pepe gets up to speed, he'll be banging them in. The other thing that I think this game also showed us was, one, we need Lacazette to start. We need to be playing a 3 up front. Lacazette needs to be starting. He's the hold-up geese out of all of them. He can hold it on, flick it on, strength. He can do things. He showed that when he come on. 2, Torreira needs to be starting now. He looked hungry. He looked mental when he come on. I don't know if that's because Liverpool went to sleep, or if that's genuinely because the way he played. But the third and final thing, which nothing we can do about it until they're back, but we need Bellerin and Tierney. We need them down in the right back and left back. We need them, because Nacho, he's done. And there's reports of him going Sociedad and everything, but don't know if it will happen. But he can't. Salah ripped him apart. Salah there's no catching him. But then on top of that, Maitland-Niles again, I don't think he had a bad game, but he's not
just
a right back.
Yeah. It was the weird thing was that because obviously our fullbacks, they were told there is no point in pushing up, because if you push up, you're having to pit Salah against David Luiz, and we all know how that went down twice. So it was
in this game, they were just put in just to be players on the pitch. In my opinion, they were just there to fit the 11. They weren't there to do anything tactical, to do anything. It was literally just don't move past the halfway line. Just stay. Yeah. And even then, we were still being caught out. Ball over the top, gone. Obviously, one player that has caused controversy, which after the Burnley game, some fans were screaming for him to be captain and praising him and been mocking Chelsea because they sold him. But now all of a sudden, because, he gave away a penalty, which we'll get onto in a minute, whether or not the ref should have played on or not. Or, he was on a yellow card and he couldn't stop Salah in the next moment. David Luiz, what did you make of him? Have you suddenly become one of these bipolar fans where last week you were praising him and be see, this is why Emery put him in, to now this week where it's, he's not good enough, no wonder Chelsea sold him, he's fucking shit, What did you make?
The thing is, I feel it's such a David Luiz thing to do. But it's it was, as soon as 1-0 happened, that a different Luiz just happened. He was no longer on it, because when he concentrates and it's for some reason it's just split second. It's not a Mustafi, but it's just when he doesn't smell danger, there is always danger. It's almost like you're having a Xhaka at centre back, but this one actually knows what to do at centre back when he actually looks at things from the bigger picture. But it was just to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna slate him because it was like, um, because it was like two bad mistakes. I think he knows it was two bad mistakes, and if anything, this will just be a lesson. I know he's like 32 years old now, and he's like, you should have that out of your game, but it's like, can we like, because when we signed WB, it was an 8 million signing. It's not Van Dijk. It's not 75 mil. He's not going to automatically fix our defense. He'll definitely make it better from my personal view on Koscielny, where the past couple of years he hasn't been of standard, but with Louise, it's like, it's not worth going on about, because inevitably this is David Luiz. We knew what he was signing.
We know David
He's
Luiz have these
signing a player
moments.
Yeah, so it's just like, but he is still undeniably a a good talent, because of like the Premier Leagues, the Champions Leagues, being in the national team. It's something that that it should just like, oh, this guy is absolute trash. Remember, Mustafi is trash, and he's that trash enough to not start in the German team. David Luiz is able to start in his national team. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just it's what we signed.
Like, the thing is, I can already see it. I can already see it. Like, after a game like that, oh, he's done, he's finished, why the fuck did we sign him? I could see this weekend, and obviously we're not going to go too much into North London Derby in this episode, but I could see this weekend if he was to score a header or score a free kick or whatnot, or like hack out Kane and stop a goal or something. Fans are going to be like, oh my god, this is why we signed him, he's so good. Like, oh my god, 8 million, a bargain. And it's like, we're going to get this all season. It's going to be bipolar between the fans. One week we're going to love him, next week we're going to hate him. And everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, are you... Obviously, I think you're like me. You're taking positives away from Liverpool. There are so many more positives in the sense that we didn't get ripped the fuck apart like normal.
No, yeah.
Like, I think it showed a lot better. Does this, like, for you, this performance, like, away from home against a top 6 team, does this give you hope for going to like an Etihad when Bellerin and Tierney and Rob are back? Like,
actually, now that you say that, Tierney, Rob, and with our full defense, actually, yeah, I guess so, because it's like, because I've at least now actually just thinking about that. If once we do have Rob, Bellerin, Tierney. I think Tierney, I don't know how, I'm pretty sure he is a good defender, but he could definitely, I'm not going to be praising like he's going to be the next, like, he's not going to be Bellerin's standard. I already know that Bellerin can contain one of the biggest talents in the Premier League. He contained Hazard when he was on form. He contains Son. He can contain Martial with ease, and actually go up the other end and score himself. So I think once we have that back line, and once everyone has been molded in nicely, there is real potential there.
like,
And it's like,
I can't finish what you're saying.
and I just think like we will have a back line that will be able to push up. Well, like, because the second half of the game, it was clear Emery just like, we're not coming here to lose, or at least if we are, I want to try, and if we're 1-0 down, let's just try and
Let's not lose it 4 and
just try
5. Like,
yeah. Let's actually grab a goal. Let's see if we can like put up a fight, because that first half performance, it had positives from it.
How do
But
you
is
feel
evident
about that he didn't bring on Laka until like late? Like,
It, I think of it. It must just. I
do you
think
think Emery
eventually
just
it
kept
will.
him off? Do you think Emery just kept him off for that long because he was like, no, this game's done. Like he didn't want to waste Laka, or do you
Well,
think
the
it was
thing is,
genuinely like
it's weird
tactic way? Like, nah, we're gonna keep
because
him
the
off.
thing is, well, because the tactics were we had for our diamond 4-1-2,
Yeah,
and Ceballos at cam, and you can tell Ceballos it does not. He's good. He's good in his own half at times. He goes from deep because he's able to. But if he forces himself deep, that's just not where you want him. He needs to be higher up the pitch, picking out the pockets of gaps because he hasn't got the patience of Özil to wait to the ball to get him. He wants the ball constantly. And once he does, I think he just lacks in that area. And when Ceballos is in the pitch in that cam, so what are you going to play? Lacazette, Uber, and Pepe all as a front three? Because I think it was weird because like if you paired Uber against Trent, I had a feeling that Trent is a good enough defender to probably to contain Uber on his own. Yes, he's had a little bit of a rough start to the season, but I still think that Liverpool's backline is too much quality, and if we were going to um, try and push, was to wait until the fullbacks pushed up, and then get in behind, and obviously that's how we almost came to scoring our first goal. But it was just I don't know. It's too much tactics, and it was like naturally it does not fit well if you have Ceballos and Lacazette. But if you have that front three, who's going to be that cam that we literally needed?
the thing is,
all of
I
last season.
think I think Ceballos didn't work because he didn't have any whip. If you looked at the way at Burnley, he was whipping it wide to the wingers and everything. But this is where
Yeah.
I'm saying about like, did this formation, it worked, but it didn't suit Ceballos and everything. Like he ran the Burnley game, and yes, Burnley are a different element to Liverpool. Like Liverpool are, European winners and whatnot. But I still think
Yeah.
on the factor of, as I said before, all pre-season, all first two games of the season, been playing with wingers, to suddenly then be like, all right, yeah, your strength is picking up the ball, passing it to width and people making runs, to all of a sudden having to drop deeper and play 1-2s and shorter passes. I think that's what screwed him up, because if anything, in that case, I would have, I would have started Ceballos, but part of me is just like, all right, if you're going to totally switch your tactic to like short passes, then surely you sort of have to bring in Torreira in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah, actually, yeah. It might have just been with Torreira the whole case of like he couldn't um get him in on the side because of just fitness.
yeah, I think it's just fitness, because he's only played like 10 minutes of football for us.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just obviously people on Arsenal fan TV just going in like one ways or what. Somebody else that lost today was it why did Xhaka play because of Torreira, because why did Torreira not play? It's just like
All right.
you're not there behind the scenes.
Yeah, you're not there behind the scenes. You don't know how their fitness levels are. I know Torreira's not fully up to fitness because he hasn't had a rest and hasn't had a pre-season type thing. So I understand why Emery's not playing him, but I agree when they say, I heard someone say Xhaka and Guendouzi are too similar, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
you can't have the two of them like sitting next to one another and everything. That's where you need someone like Torreira. But then that's where I was saying to you about the Burnley game, maybe start Willock next to Xhaka. which, by the way, he had a great game against Liverpool, in my opinion. Like, one or two moments he looked like he struggled, but besides that, Willock was running that midfield, in my opinion. Like, when we were having a good part of the game, not overall the game, because obviously Liverpool dominated, but when we were actually shining and doing good bits or counter-attacking, Willock was giving his all.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It might actually the tactics of that game allow Willock to shine a little bit because like where the Liverpool midfield is not of like huge quality.
Yeah,
Um, Anyways, and it was just him on his day being able to beat players like Trent, um, and just get beyond because he's naturally, I wouldn't say more athletic than Liverpool, but he can compete against them against that athleticism and bring a bit of flair to the table. So I think definitely if you're talking about tactics of the game, it definitely suited Willock a lot more in that diamonds because he was allowed to sort of like get more of the ball, but then sort of have his own space,
yeah,
which was sort of like that left side of the midfield. So instead of like a responsible individual role where it might be a part of a pairing in a defensive mill setup like a 4-2-3-1 or a centre attacking midfielder like Ceballos. So it's I think that definitely having that central midfield role it just suits him better because he's naturally just better equipped. It might obviously as time will go on, it'll change and he'll naturally be more fitted to play as a defensive midfielder or an attacking midfielder. But I think just that game alone just fitted to him.
yeah.
Um,
Like, when City rolls
Yeah.
around, would you do something like this again, or would you say no? We have to go with wingers.
I
Like,
think for the case of City, I think for the case of City, we have to go with wingers because obviously they the whole purpose of City is to stretch play, and we'll need fullbacks, not fullbacks, wingers to actually run up with
yeah,
uh with City's fullbacks, because obviously whilst they still have Zinchenko, it would actually be good to have wingers as well because that's if they're going to be vulnerable, that is it. That is there it is.
yeah. That's fair
So
enough. Like,
yeah, I
I,
think today might have just been an exception for Liverpool, but
yeah, I don't know. Like, I like to try and keep the width. I don't want to keep chopping and changing tactics each week. Obviously, if Nacho is the go, then I can see us playing more of a free back with Kolasinac as wing back until Tierney's back. But overall, looking at the Liverpool game, it was a frustrating one. Like, it was positives, but then it was just like, Jesus Christ, the negatives are like, we lost. But then, truly, what was anyone expecting? Like, be honest, no fan was sitting there going like, yeah, we're going to go to Anfield and batter them and win and dominate. Like, let's be honest, we all sort of knew, like, these are the European champions. We're still in our rebuild. They are miles ahead of us at the moment. Yeah. Like, they're fighting for the Premier League. We're fighting to get back in the Champions League and everything. Like, but
and with the competition obviously of the Premier League,
yeah,
they're only just better than everyone. So it's where we struggled against Burnley, they're going to beat them 3-0 comfortably. So it's like
yeah,
that's just the set of Liverpool. But Yeah, I think I heard this. I think it was someone did like a Q&A with Alexandra, the Arsenal fan, but the women's football player.
Yeah,
Um, so it was like a Q&A with her, and someone said, "Would you rather have Arsenal go all guns blazing at Liverpool and try and grab a win, and then but or
get battered.
or would you
Or
or get battered or literally if it or just play to the best that we can with the best formation that we can and no matter what the outcome is." And it's just like, and she said, yeah, if that would be the best, that would probably be the better outcome, because obviously all guns blazing we would just lose as we did in that second half. So it was like, so I think, yeah, at least for me, the performance levels was good. I think what we could have done, I think what Emery needs to do is sort out the out
yeah,
of the back system, playing out from the back, because it is starting to get like, I saw this scenario like last year. Obviously, we all saw this scenario with Czech, and it was like like do the centre back. I'm pretty sure the centre backs know what they're doing. Does Czech know what he's doing? But now it's just like, for me, it's just like this. It's a complete and utter mess, because no one in that back line is confident for some reason. Even against Burnley, when you would think their confidence is sky high,
yeah,
and where they have the appetite to put up a fight against Burnley, or at least should be able to at least play a good string amount of passes out of the back without being lucky. And it's still like, no, same errors,
yeah.
which I think is purely down to the movement.
It's
'Cause
obviously
obviously,
going to be addressed when, as we keep saying, when the others come back from injury.
yeah, yeah, I did, and obviously Rob Holding is such a crucial part in that happening. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, because basically once Rob was there, that was like, out of the back wasn't the issue of our defense. It was the issue of our goalkeeper, and now it's like just done a complete switcheroo
all
in
right.
terms of season.
Yeah.
It's not goalkeeper, it's the defense. So
Overall,
yeah,
does this show like the other talking point? Is this showing that Emery is, the words that were used is Emery's a clown, he's not a good tactician, like da 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 da. Like, has this shown anything to confirm that Emery is not our guy going forward? Because I think fans, in my opinion, are overreacting, because it's third game in the season. He's won 2 games, lost
yeah,
1, and this one he's lost is against European champions. Like, people who have been established as a team competing for the league for the past 2 to 3 seasons, who have got one of the best, if not the best centre half in the world at the moment, got some of the best attacking front line, and you're saying because he lost there, it's considering in mind he's won both his starting games. Besides this,
shit.
he's shit. He needs to go. Sack him. Get rid of him. Like,
Yeah,
are people just forgetting this is a rebuild? Like,
because obviously I'm pretty sure you might have seen this, but like obviously Claude was saying on FTV, being like, what's the system? It's blaming the manager. Klopp's a decent guy. We've got a clown, and it's like,
that's what I said. Like, yeah, the word that was being used is
are you
clown.
being serious? Are you being serious? So it's like, so basically you're calling. So let's take who's the best defensive midfielder at the club, at our club at least. But actually, what would you think? Who is the best defensive midfielder? I'm probably putting in a poll of like either out of Xhaka or Torreira. Who
Xhaka's not a defensive
is
midfielder.
better?
Torre is our only defensive midfielder, in my opinion.
Fair. Okay, so Torreira's our best defensive midfielder, who has played at club level with Sampdoria and played obviously with us, and he's got to a European Cup final with the with the with the Europa League, and we'll take Liverpool's defensive midfielder in Fabinho. Fabinho, he has won a Champions League. He's got to the Champions League semi-final. He's won the league with Monaco. He came second in the Premier League with 97 points. I'm sorry, but it's just like Torreira is good, but he's not in what Liverpool have, that entire midfield, that from Trent to Robertson to their back line. It's so much better on all fronts. You could probably make an exception for our attack being better, because Aubameyang scores. If he had Ceballos last year, he probably would have got. I would have put bets on they would have got 30 goals in that year. Like,
Yeah, the only argument there though is like they were saying it on Sky Sports as I was watching the match. The amount of goals that the front three of Liverpool have scored against us, like, it's unreal. Like, well, Uber, he's been here for like 2 seasons now, and he's never scored against Liverpool. Like,
yeah, but it's like, how can you when you have when essentially Ramsey at the time, I'm not pointing fingers, he wasn't an Ozil. He's the guy that literally scores goals himself. He'll get the odd assist there and there, here and there, but his tactical mastermind literally places him in the perfect place. He's almost like having like a shadow striker that can. He's not a playmaker, so it's like
no.
Yeah, so I guess Uber just hasn't had.
This is what I'm saying. It's still a rebuild. Like, it's gonna take a few years to get right.
To give him.
Like,
Yeah.
But
yeah, and it was evident, obviously, with him and Pepe, they seem to be like creating a kind of partnership, I guess. They're close together whenever the ball was always close to them, and they would be in good areas at the time, but it was like.
No, that's fair enough. Like, it's just.
But it's just.
I'd still rather see the three.
Time thing.
I'd still rather see the three up front. Like.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, I'm not losing my head. You're not losing your head. Positive to take away, but we have to win against the scumbags. As far as I know, like, this is going to be a short episode, but as far as I know, that's everything we needed to sort of cover. Like, we spoke about Burnley, spoke about Liverpool, we spoke about performance, players, Emery, clowns, David Luiz, like, is there anything else you want to add? Or do you think this is all that needs to be said?
I think it's good to wrap up there. Good to wrap up
Yeah.
there. I mean, we'll lose our heads once Tottenham comes around and.
Oh yeah, if we lose to Spurs, then nah, don't even want to think about that. No, I'm good. No, fuck you. Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't want to lose to Spurs, but no. Anyway, guys, this is of course going to be the end of the episode. If you did enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, most probably hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think of your thoughts of the Liverpool loss, defeat. Is this now end of Emery's era? Blah, 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 whatnot. But no, yeah. Ali, thank you again for talking.
It's a good pleasure.
Even though it's a short one.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see you guys later this week for the special recording of the North London derby, which will be a preview. So I hope to see you guys there. And yeah, peace.